And now at Subculture, we're going to take a look at a brand new theatre production in Melbourne. We're going to take a look at The Boy from Oz, which, of course, is the brand new production from a theatre company that I feel is now one of the most important theatre companies in Melbourne. That is the theatre company called Theatrical. Now, their production of The Boy from Oz is on now, and goes through to most of July at the National Theatre in St Kilda. And, of course, this is the production The Boy from Oz, which takes a look at the life of the iconic Peter Allen. Of course, Peter Allen was an Australian who got to go overseas and work with the likes of Judy Garland, and he married Liza Minnelli and performed with her as well, and packed stages overseas. He wrote the iconic I Still Call Australia Home, and it's interesting to go and see this production of The Boy from Oz because, of course, some very famous people have played the iconic role of Peter Allen in The Boy from Oz over the years, including Todd McKenney and Hugh Jackman. This time around, the person playing Peter Allen is Matthew Hadcraft, who, of course, a lot of people already know in Australia because he's played Peter Allen in a production of The Boy from Oz before. He's also done Peter Allen shows. He also does Elton John shows. So he's welcomed back to this role, like I said, that's had a lot of famous people play the role. So, of course, there are a lot of people watching him to see whether or not he can play the role of Peter Allen the same way as the likes of Hugh Jackman. So, Lee, what did you think of The Boy from Oz?
I thought this was really quite stunning musical, just in terms of Matthew Hadcraft's performance. I think he did a wonderful job playing Peter Allen, and yeah, just his charisma on the stage, the way he spoke to the audience. Now, I know that's part of his role, but I just think he captured the audience so well and included them as part of the story, really, the way he addressed everyone.
Yeah, this is a production with a difference, The Boy from Oz, in that the person playing Peter Allen interacts with the audience. A lot of it is ad-libbed with that interaction as well. So if somebody lets out a gasp or a laugh or something like that, they'll react to it. A lot of people actually have called, one person I've read has called this a theatrical jukebox because of that, because of the way that the reaction happens with the audience. So it's pretty rare, but the person playing Peter Allen has to be on top of it, and I think Hadcraft was.
Yeah, and the other thing that he was just brilliant at was playing the piano. Now, there are times where while he's playing and singing, he'll continue singing, but he'll stop playing the piano through some of the song, and the orchestra takes over that piano piece so that he can wander around the stage. But you can just see how excellent a pianist he is. So yeah, obviously he's very talented in a lot of ways. He's dancing, singing, playing piano, but just had that beautiful charisma for the stage. Now, the costumes were amazing as well. Loved his gold pants. So if anyone sees this production, you will certainly notice those gold pants. And of course, I think the other costume that stood out for me was his Australia outfit, his Australian shirt, very smart, sparkly Australian flag type shirt with his white pants. Yeah, just very iconic, I think.
And that's all been put together by costume designer Karen Spencer.
Yes. Now, I noticed some pretty cool costumes too for some of the beautiful singers. There's a trio of singers, actually. 3 female beautiful singers, and their voices are powerful, and they have some really outstanding song choices in there. And when they finish singing their beautiful harmonies and melody together, you can kind of feel that appreciation for their gifting in music. Of course, there's a lot of other characters and a lot of other singers in this piece, but I will point out as well Ruben Koronczek, who played the young Peter Allen. Now, I recognised him on stage because I've recently seen him in Mary Poppins as playing Michael Banks, actually. So I think this young actor is making quite a good name for himself, and he did a really wonderful job as well of playing the young Peter Allen. So there's some great songs in this, and I think for me the second half of the piece had the more standout songs that I knew more of. I think out of all the songs, the most standout song was I Still Call Australia Home. Now, not only because of the performance, but because the whole audience sang along and people seemed to know every single word, and seemed quite patriotic while they were singing. And I think, there's been a debate in the past, should this be our national anthem or should we keep the one that we have? I'm all for changing it to I Still Call Australia Home. I think that that people just sing it with a real connection to their home, and as the song points out, whether you're here in person in Australia or you're overseas and thinking of home, it just gives you that beautiful connection.
And you get to see in this production as well, if you haven't seen The Boy from Oz before, why Peter Allen wrote that song, because the Australian press were quite annoyed when he came back to perform in Australia for the bicentennial. And they basically pointed out, you've been in America for so many years, you're not Australian, you shouldn't be part of the bicentennial. And he actually wrote I Still Call Australia Home off the back of that. So, it's fairly interesting to learn how that iconic song was written, or why it was written.
I think, too, what I liked about it, obviously it's about his life, but a little bit of insight into Judy Garland's life, and, of course, Liza Minnelli's. And then, moving on to Greg Connell's life as well. So there's some sad moments in this production, and because it's about real life, it's about Peter Allen's whole life and the people who intertwine into his life as well. And of course, Peter Allen himself had a lonely life at times while he was trying to make it, I guess you would say. But you also see his triumphs.
Yep.
And, the triumphs are great. And he's left behind as well. While he's no longer with us, he's left behind these beautiful songs to remind us of him, and the emotions he wanted to share with the world.
Yep. Yeah, look, I loved the performances of Saskia Penn, who played Judy Garland, and Sarah Monteau, who played Liza Minnelli. They did an absolutely amazing work. In fact, there was sometimes with Sarah's work where I literally thought I was watching Liza Minnelli on the stage. She encaptured all of her mannerisms, her look, her style, so remarkably well. The only thing I find as a fault with The Boy from Oz, and this is not theatrical's issue, goes back to when it was originally written, I find that this production has always skipped over the sadder moments really, really quickly, including Peter Allen's death, which just kind of is mentioned in a song. But I've always thought that there's so much time spent on the relationship with Liza Minnelli that the relationship with his partner, Greg Connell, kind of gets skimmed over in a sense, like especially Greg's death.
And illness. We didn't see very much of his illness, but of course that would have been a really predominant part of Peter's life as well.
Yeah.
And then of course Peter got sick as well later. But I think we didn't actually see how sick they got, or the challenges, a lot of the challenges that came with the illness. And I think it's actually good to talk about that and to see that and to share that as well. So that's a bit that probably did get skipped that we should have seen. And also how Marion, Peter's mother, coped with that as well, coped with her son being sick. Now, Maureen Andrew plays the part of Marion, and I think she did a terrific job in that role. She had that real motherly way about her, and you could see that encouragement too for the young Peter Allen as well.
Yeah, definitely. But look, I've always found that as a bit of a fault with The Boy from Oz, that it does skim over those bits so quickly. And I thought it was a shame because Leighton Garwin does a great job playing Greg Connell here, so having that bit skipped over. For me, the highlights of the music was Tenterfield Sadler, which is another beautiful song that Peter Allen wrote. The entire audience wanted to hear I Go to Rio. People had even bought maracas, like, to have in the audience to play during that part.
I actually think they may have been given out in the foyer to a few special people.
But, also, of course, I Still Call Australia Home, the song that whenever an Aussie hears it overseas, it makes them burst into tears. So, look, this is a great production of The Boy from Oz. Theatrical again. Have come through with the goods with beautiful set design. It's in a way it's almost a simplistic set design, but it looks so big on the stage that it looks like this great big Las Vegas show, and that in itself is a bit of a miracle, the way that all comes together. The music is amazing. It's a true explosion of colour, especially the costumes during I Go to Rio. There's a grand piano on the stage for a majority of the show as well, but just brilliantly performed. We've mentioned some of the actors here and actresses that did such an amazing job, but Matthew Hadcraft really, really shows that he is someone who deserves to be known right around the world. He's such an amazing person when he plays Peter Allen. So, look, go along and check out Theatrical's production of The Boy from Oz. It is on from now, I believe, through to about the 21st or the 24th of July at the National Theatre in St Kilda. So go and grab your tickets and go and check out The Boy from Oz.